Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to our third bonus video of this floral series. This bonus video is done after we have done 5 days, so day 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. We did 5 different florals on this Canson watercolor paper. And you are welcome to leave yours black and white. I think it looks amazing black and white. You're also welcome to use colored pencils or gel pens or whatever you want. But I'm going to be using watercolor. And if you purchased one of my May floral kits, it came with this little palette and your paintbrush, a little adorable tulip jar for water, and this little color palette, and even a towel. What a great set that was. I love all of this. Okay, so I have all my materials ready. So I am not an expert watercolor artist. I am not amazing at like color palettes and things like that. So the way that I approach things like this is more just, what do I like? What do I want to put on paper? I don't put a lot of thought into warm colors versus cool colors and things like that. I just pick colors I like and hope that it turns out. So I've mentioned before, but if you want to follow Audrey Shantz Art, she is incredible at color mixing, setting up palettes, and giving you all the beginner and expert tips at watercolor. In fact, on May 31st, she and I have a collaboration coming out where the first part of the video will be me showing you how to draw a pot of Zentangle flowers. And the second video will be Audrey showing us how to watercolor. It's going to be amazing. So that will be the 31st. I think it's a Saturday. All right, anyway, here is our beautiful floral piece. It's amazing. I love this one so much. Here are our other two that we've done. Garden number 1 that I really, really loved as well. Garden number 2 that I loved. And now garden number 3. 3 very different ways to approach making organic tangles. Okay, what I want to do today is I'm going to mix the primary colors red, yellow, and blue in here just to see what kind of secondary colors I can come up with. So to do this, I'm going to start with some puddles, and it takes a little bit. I mean, I could always like just dump it in, but I don't need big puddles, but I do want to do like 3 of my little trays. Just put some water in there to get started. Okay, it's probably hard to see mine, but I just have little tiny, like fingernail sized puddles. All right, in this first one, I'm going to mix red and yellow, and just going to make an orange. But this orange here, this burnt sienna, is kind of brown. So I'm going to see if I can make a brighter orange. And this is pink, not red. But let's just see what happens. I'm going to scrape my brush on the side to make sure most of that pink comes out. I'll do one more little scoop of my paint here. Okay, I'm going to put my brush all the way down to the bottom of my jar and pick up some yellow. I'm going to really fill my brush with that yellow. Look at that really pretty bright orange. I love that. All right, let's try red and blue. It should make a purple. It might not be very different than the purple we have here, but let's just try it. Putting in some pink. Okay, wash my brush and pick up some of that blue. Blue is really dark, so I probably don't need a lot of it to get a purpley color. Ooh, I love that version of pink. A little bit more blue. All right, do you see that purple and how different it is from this purple. I love it. All right, and then let's do blue and yellow to make green. I'm going to start with my deep color blue. Scooping a whole bunch in. Rolling that brush in there. I can always get more water. Pick up more paint off of my little palette. All right, that's a very bright blue. Wash my brush, get some yellow. Get a lot of yellow. Ooh, look at that earthy green. That is really cool. So those are secondary colors. There's so much more mixing that we could do right now, but I'm just gonna leave it like this. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick some of that red, yellow, and blue, and then these secondary colors. I don't think I'm gonna use the regular green, burnt sienna, or purple today. I wanna use the colors that I mixed. But you can do whatever you want. This is your palette, your piece of art. And I'm gonna put this over here so I'm not crossing in front of the camera every time. And I like to use my towel. Okay, are we ready? So to do this, it's almost like doing, like painting a checkerboard pattern where you do like the black, the white, the black, the white. I want to like do a shape, skip a shape, do a shape, skip a shape, because we don't want things touching when they are wet or they will bleed into each other, which is a beautiful thing in watercolor. So if it happens, it's okay. All right, I'm gonna start with my leaves. My piece is upside down. I only know that because my leaves came from that first little window. All right, it's almost impossible for me to have all the things on the screen. So I'm gonna get just a tiny bit of water on my brush, and I'm gonna pick up that earthy green that I made in my tray, and I'm gonna see if I like it. Look at that. Oh, that's so pretty. I don't think I'm gonna do the aura. I might just leave my auras white. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's wet right now, but I really like this green. So I'm doing the inside of the leaf and that little outline of the leaf, but just not that aura that goes around the whole piece. If you don't like your green, go back and change it. And when you're doing something this long, look at how quickly I'm painting. Audrey would say, don't be precious. Like, don't sit here and go, you know, point, point, little, little, little. Like, fill your brush with paint and really just get it in there. And I'm kind of leaning into the belly of my brush to get like the most coverage. I also don't need big puddles on my page. I kind of want things to dry pretty evenly. All right, I've got one more leaf up here. There we go. And I don't even really need to do any like darker green to make shadows because of our pencil that we did. We already have the shading in there. Look how beautiful that looks already. I love it already so much. We'll have to decide if we want to keep our auras white or not. I hadn't thought about that when I put them in there. Right, I'm going to add more of that, or get more of that earthy green, and I'm going to do this set of leaves over here. This set could be a completely different green if I wanted it to be. I could add a little more blue to it, maybe make it a little more teal. I could add more yellow to brighten it. But I like the color that I accidentally made. Sometimes it just works. moving pretty quickly. Typically in watercolor, you want things to stay wet so that you can add other colors and play, but I'm not really doing that this time, so I'm just letting myself paint these quickly and move on. Look at how fast we have beautiful color on our piece already. I hope I'm not going too quickly for you. I'll wait just another few seconds and then we'll move on to the next part. This would look so pretty just like this, black and white with just like one color in it. I'm just loving it. Okay. I'm gonna grab this purpley color that I made. I'm gonna grab that next. And I'm going to do Flux Echo, these big ones here, with that purpley color. Let's see how it turned out. Oh, that's really pretty. It's more pink than purple, I think. Do both of those. I didn't do the circle. I think I'll do the circle a different color, the circle of the Flux Echo. And I'm not doing the orid part. Now if I want, I can go into my pink here, directly into it with kind of a drier brush. And I can add a little bit right here around this center part. See if it starts to spread a little bit with the water. A little bit. I don't think it was wet enough. Can do a little bit around this middle as well. Get my brush wet. I'm going to just spread this a little. Encourage it to go up into the flowers. Look how that one is starting to seep into the other part of the paint. Just kind of get a little bit of that contrast with the dark and the light. See how that's happening there? Okay, I'm going to take this pinkish color here that I just used, and I'm going to do a few of my pansiolas. So I'm just going to go straight from my tray. My pansiolas, I'm just going to do all, like for one flower, I'm just going to keep it one color. But Angie Gittles, when she did added color to hers, she did like a deep purple in the back and a light pink in the front, and just kind of changed it up because sometimes in these little pansies, the back can be a different color because of the way that they breed the flowers. If you have a big puddle, take your paintbrush, tap it on your towel, get it nice and dry, and then lay it on its side, almost completely on its side, and use it like a sponge and just soak up some of that color, some of that puddle. And then it's not so wet. I get some more of that. I'm going to do this one. If you want, you can go right over that center and we can add a different color over it later. Another idea is to go over the whole thing and then go directly into like a pink and put it in the center and let it kind of spread out. We're just playing. All right, I'm gonna do a couple more of those little pansiolas with that pinkish color. I'm gonna leave the center of that one open, and I'm gonna scoop up some of that water. I could just do this pink color everywhere. I love it. I'm gonna do some up here. See how thick with water that is? I really need to remove some of that or it's never gonna dry. Wash my brush, tap it on the towel, and scoop some of it up. I'm going to do this big tri-tip over here with that pinkish color. Still avoiding those auras. Look how quickly I filled that. And if I want to go back directly into my pink on the palette, I can put some of that by the center and let it spread into the flower a bit. See if I can show you that better on camera. Adding that little dark color around the center is just so fun. But your paint needs to be wet for it to spread. Dip my brush all the way to the bottom, get all the pigment out. I think I need to do one of these over here with that color. It's amazing from that initial little puddle how much paint I've been able to get from it. And I still have a little puddle left. I've still got more. All right, that looks good. I'm just noticing on my piece here that I have two spots up here that I didn't, get on camera, that I didn't fill in with anything. Luckily I have my pen here. Before I paint, I want to fill those spaces in. Everything else is filled, but I have these two little areas. So I'm going to try to avoid my wet paint. I'm going to put an orb in there, add an aura, and then ink in the part that's left. I just kind of thought I was done earlier. All right, I accidentally went over the aura, so now we're just gonna ink in the whole aura. In this little spot up here, I'm just gonna ink the whole thing in because it's too small to add much. I guess at the end of the last video, I should have said, look around, make sure there's no little empty areas. Okay, that feels better. All right, I'm gonna do my ladybugs next. So I'm gonna get a little bit of water on my brush, not very much. I'm gonna go right into this bright pinkish color. It's the closest thing I have to red. And I'm going to do these little ladybugs. And I think I'm gonna paint all of them. I think I have 5. And I love how it matches the other pink, but it's just so much more bold and bright. I'm gonna do all of those. A little more pink. And if they're really puddly, you can wash your brush, dry it off on your towel, and then go back in and lift a little bit. Wipe it on your towel, lift a little, wipe a little. It'll all soak into the paper eventually, so you don't have to clean up all of your puddles. All right, I'm going back to this little palette that I made, and I've got this orange here. So let's do some orange. Clean my brush. Doesn't need a lot of water on it. And really fill your brush with that orange and pick a large spot to do. I'm gonna do this one here. I just wanna make sure it doesn't touch that pink, but I like that my aura separates it, so it shouldn't be a problem. And I'm gonna go right over the whole thing. If you want to paint the outside a different color, please do. I just really want to add these colors and let the shapes and their shading kind of do their own thing. Very pretty. Get some more orange. I'm going to do this one. If your orange is not a color you like, then go back to the red and the yellow, or I guess the pink and the yellow, and add a little more pink or add a little more yellow if you want to lighten it. Now, if you notice, like I'm going into those auras a bit, and it's getting a little bit sloppy and messy, and I don't care. It's watercolor. It's meant to be a little bit not forgiving. I don't know what the right term is, but like it doesn't bother me when I go out of the lines. All right, I'm going to get more orange. I'm going to do this one here. It has two sides, one on each side of the frame. Oh, there I accidentally did the whole aura. So I guess I better do it on this one too. That's kind of funny. I'll do this little pansiola up here. Get some more orange and do this one. Going right over the stripes of this one. So this was made with that pink and yellow. So watch, if I go over the middle with the orange, but then I go into my pink and I just get a little bit of the pink and I put it in the center. It's going to start to spread and bleed. Do you see that? I think it's easier to see once it all dries. But throw a color in there and see what happens. All right, I don't think there's any more spots. I'm gonna do the orange. So I had this beautiful purple that I was trying to make and it turned out very pink. So I'm gonna add some more water to it just by getting it with my brush. I'll zoom out so you can see exactly what I'm doing. All right, I'm getting water from my thing and I'm just putting some in here. That purple was made with the pink and the blue, and it needs more of both, but probably a little bit more blue to make that purple happen. So I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to get a little bit of pink, put that pink in there, grab some more pink. And I'm going to wash my brush and get more blue. Okay, that feels more purpley to me. I like that. I'm going to use that. Okay, clean my brush really well by going all the way to the bottom of my jar. Pick up some of that purple. And let's do this big one over here. Okay, that's really light and hard to see, which means I'm going to add more blue. And even some more blue. Let's see how this looks. All right, that's got a little bit more color to it. And I did the aura again. That's so funny that I just keep doing that. All right, we got a little bit of purple. I know it's so hard to see with the lights and when it's wet. I promise you it looks beautiful. All right, I'm gonna do this one purple. It's really light. I'm gonna get a little bit more. Do this one. There's probably a secret way to do lighting when you're doing watercolor. I just don't know it. I'll do this one purple, even though it's right next to it. And I'm going to do this little pansiola over here. Sometimes I'm going right over the center, sometimes I'm not. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just what I feel like doing at the moment, I guess. And I'm going to do my initials in purple. And then I'm just gonna fill in these little circles that I have left in, like, I've got these little auras up here. These auras up here, I'm just gonna do all purple because why not? We'll lift some of that off. It's kind of a big puddle. And maybe I'll do this little circle purple, but leave the aura white. Rinse my brush. This little one here, maybe I'll do green. That earthy green that I had. I could do more greens in here. Okay, that's a big puddle. Wiping off my brush, scooping some of that up. Get some more green. I've got a little bubble here I could do. The inside of this pansiola could be green. The inside of this Flex Echo could be green, even though it's right next to a green, it's okay. inside of that one. We're just filling in little spaces now. I just put the green on this purple and it immediately spread, and I love it. I can't wait for it to dry and see how that turns out. You see that? I put it in the purple. Let's see if I can show you. I know that's hard to see. Isn't that beautiful? Do a little green inside this pansy. Up here in a bubble. Wash my brush, get some of that purple, and I can do a purple bubble over here. Purple bubble here and here. How is yours looking? How is yours feeling? If you don't like all of the white auras, you could go back and paint them the color of the object. So like I could do all of these auras around my leaves. I could go back and paint all those green. I could do the outside of this pink flower with a completely different color, and that would look amazing. I see one more little bubble here. I'm going to do it orange. All right, now we just got to wait for everything to dry. I really enjoyed that color palette. It was so fun to mix those primary colors to make secondary colors. It really turned out cool. And then once it dries, you're gonna be able to see all these little bleeds and things that happened. So I'm gonna pause the video and go get my little dryer that I have, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back, and I think mine is mostly dry. And I just want you to notice, like if you look really close, there's so many imperfections, but watercolor is so light and so transparent. If we were to do this in acrylic, every time you went over a line, like you would notice. But because it's watercolor, you see the lines right through it, and it just doesn't matter. So I hope that you embrace those little imperfections. And like part of my frame here, I splashed some watercolor on. Over here, I went over the edge a bit. Definitely out of the lines in so many places. And that's okay. Truly, these are meant to be relaxing, calming, and just ideas for ways to continue your Zen journey, whether it's Zentangle with just pen and pencil or adding colors. So you probably have something that you love to use, whether it's like a markers, there's Copic markers and acrylic markers and so many amazing things. And there's so many beautiful colored pencils and watercolored pencils. And I hope that you're enjoying trying watercolor, because I think it's been so much fun. And we still have one more week to go. And week 4 is going to be completely different than weeks 1 and 2 and 3. So I'm thrilled with this. I love how it turned out. The only thing I think that I want to do, and I don't want to ruin anything, but I want to take my pen and I want to add like a little aura around each frame. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it just feels like kind of stark to me. So I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to let it be wiggly, but I'm just going to add this tiny little aura. It's very wiggly. I think because I put auras around the tangles, this just feels like it needs a little something more. I'm making it really thin, really close to the line. I like the wiggliness of it. One more. Is this really making a difference? Probably not. But for some reason, maybe because we did such pretty frames on the other ones, this one just felt kind of boring to me, maybe. I don't know. I love the division of these little white areas here. That to me is so cool. But the stark line, I don't know. I needed something else. Let me zoom in on that so you can see how wiggly and how close I made it. See that? It's not perfect. And that's what makes it cool. Okay. All done with week 3. On Sundays, I do show and tell Sundays. I make a post and then you can post your pictures underneath. You can see what everybody else is doing. You can compliment and love on them. You can see the variations, the color palettes, all kinds of things. So Let's Tangle is my Facebook group. So please come to Let's Tangle and share your work. It is not a membership. You just go on the page. You can't post individually. You post underneath what I post, but it's a great place to share and see what everyone is doing. If you want my newsletters, my next one comes out June 1st. They come out every month on the 1st of the month, and you can go to www.minsofzen, minsofzen.com, and you can sign up for my emails there. And each month there's a freebie, a printable download. So much fun. So please join that if you can. And we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.